warm welcome. I'm coming to you with a very special edition of This Is Exclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the greater war for Pakistan. Never seen before images coming in from the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. The only Indian channel to tell you the growing hostility between Afghanistan and Pakistan and why Pakistan is worried. Now the real cause comes in. The real cause is this, because Pakistan army has been completely thinned out, and the report that we are going to put out in a short while from now will make it crystal clear as to why Pakistan is nervous, worried, jittery. And not just that, for the first time ever, Afghan Taliban commander speaks to an Indian news channel and tells Pakistan that it's a warning for you and it's the end. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on This Is Exclusive, we have several reports coming in from Afghanistan, from the Durand Line, and much more. But up first, let's take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Balochistan Liberation. Pakistan loses the plot in the western border. Hostilities with Afghanistan escalates after Islamabad banishes Afghan refugees. Pakistan cornered from all ends. Taliban commander calls out Shehbaz government for shameful treatment of Afghan refugees. Fast-paced inputs and most exclusive images, visuals that no other channel has. This is Republic's live and world exclusive coverage coming in from Afghanistan. Big admission by Pakistan Minister Bilawal Bhutto says Pakistan's terror ties no secret. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation at the Durand Line, that is the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, has been extremely sensitive. In Afghanistan's Jalalabad province, near the Turkham Gate, just 2 kilometers from the Durand Line, thousands of Afghan refugees forced out of Pakistan are now being sheltered in camps set up by the Taliban government. Amid thunderstorm and rain, refugees live in dire conditions with little to no access to food, clean water. Many claim they were abruptly evicted, leaving behind their homes, belongings in Pakistan. Republic is live from Afghanistan and brings the first-hand account of what is unfolding at the refugee camps. And not just that, the bigger picture, the greater war, as we are basically calling it. The reason being, it's the growing hostility between the Taliban and the Pakistani government. In fact, for the first time ever, Taliban has issued an ultimatum. They say that we have never recognized the Durand Line and we will not recognize it. You will have to come to terms with it. Especially given the fact with the TTP now joining hands with the Taliban in a tacit manner, it has only become difficult for the Pakistani government to carry forward. First, take a look at this report coming in from Afghanistan.
हज़रत में हकमत और मैं जहाँ खड़ा हूँ ये अफगानिस्तान पाकिस्तान का बॉर्डर ड्यूरन लाइन तो हम गेट है। अभी जो मैं खड़ा हूँ ये बस स्टॉप है जो हर रोज़ हज़ारों अफगान रिफ्यूजी जो पाकिस्तान से ज़बरदस्ती निकल रहे हैं तो ये लोग बताते हैं। आप ये बात जो देख रहे हैं ये पाकिस्तान अफगानिस्तान का बॉर्डर जो हम गेट है और इस बार इस तरह पाकिस्तानी बॉर्डर का आर्मी का चेक पॉइंट है और यहाँ जो आप देख रहे हैं हज़ारों गाड़ी इस इंतज़ार में जो जी तो गेट से इस तरफ आता है तो ये लोग उनसे हेल्प करता है तो वो अपने जो ये रिफ्यूजी कैंप है उधर ये लोग पहुँच जाता है। और अभी कुछ देर में मैं बाहर जाऊँगा उस गेट के नज़दीक जहाँ हज़ारों की तादाद में अफगान रिफ्यूजी बहुत बुरी हालत में जो बच्चों के साथ औरतों के साथ जो पाकिस्तान से अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो ज़बरदस्ती निकल रहे थे तो उधर वो लोग इस इंतज़ार में कि ये गाड़ियाँ उन लोगों को रिफ्यूजी कैंप तक पहुँचाए और बाद में वो कई दिन रिफ्यूजी कैंप में रहता है और क्योंकि मसला है कि ہزاروں کا جو افغان ریفیوجی ادھر آتا ہے وہ سب سامان گھر وغیرہ پاکستان میں لے گیا ہے اور ان لوگوں کو اجازت نہیں دیتا کہ وہ اپنے سامان بھی ادھر سے نکلوائے. تو یہ لوگ ابھی جو ادھر ٹھہرا ہے ابھی یونیسیف نے بھی ایک پریس ریلیز دیا ہے کہ یہ لوگ ان لوگوں کو گھر بھی نہیں ہے, ان لوگوں کے پاس پیسے بھی نہیں ہے اور ان لوگوں کو ہزاروں مشکل میں یہ رہتا ہے. آپ جو دیکھ رہے ہیں یہ پہاڑ اور یہ 0 پوائنٹ یہ بارڈر ہے جو ہم گیٹ سے ملتے ہیں. تو آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں کہ لوگ اس طرف سے آ رہا ہے اور بعد میں ہم ٹرائی کریں گے کہ ان ریفیوجی کے ساتھ انٹرویو بھی لیں. تو ابھی میں آیا ہوں افغانستان کے جلال آباد پروونس جو تورخم گیٹ کے نزدیک اور میرے ڈسٹینس پہ 2 کلومیٹر آگے ڈیورنٹ لائن ہے جو پاکستان کے ساتھ بارڈر ہے. ابھی میں یہ کہہ رہا ہے آپ کو یہ کیمپ ہے ریفیوجی کیمپ جو طالب گورنمنٹ کی طرف سے افغان ریفیوجی اور مہاجرین جو زبردستی طور پہ پاکستان سے نکلتا ہے تو ان لوگوں نے بنایا ہوا ہے. ابھی جو یہ تصویر میں دیکھ رہے ہیں بہت شدید طوفان اور بارش ہو رہا ہے اور یہ لوگ بہت بری حالت میں یہ ادھر کھانے پینے کا پرابلم سے ادھر بہت پرابلمس ہو رہے ہیں. ان لوگوں کا کہنا ہے کہ یہ تصویریں جو آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں ان کیمپوں میں یہ لوگ رہ رہے ہیں اور یہ لوگ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ یہ لوگ زبردستی پاکستان سے افغانستان نکلوا رہے ہیں اور ان کا سب جو سامان تھے گھر جو سب چیزیں تھے وہ پاکستان میں لے گئے اور یہ لوگ افغانستان.
Now let me tell you how did this standoff begin and why exactly is Afghan Taliban at loggerheads with Islamabad. That's because in an arbitrary manner, the Pakistan government essentially decided that they are going to send back all Afghan refugees. Remember, these are the same very refugees who had left from Afghanistan and were residing in Pakistan. Without much notice, they were sent out. And with no place left for them, they are now all stranded at the Durand Line. In fact, the Taliban did actually give an ultimatum to Islamabad. And that is the reason why there is a massive standoff between both of them. Now, this report that has been filed by my colleague Hashmat Stanigzai is barely 2 kilometers from the Durand Line. And then we're going to take you all the way to Durand Line where all of it is now happening. First, take a look at this report coming in from a refugee camp.
جو آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں ادھر افغانستان کا جلال آباد پروونس جو ڈیورنٹ لائن تورخم گیٹ کے نزدیک ہے ڈیورنٹ لائن اور جو ریفیوجی پاکستان سے زبردستی اور پریشر ڈال کر نکالا ہے ادھر اس کیمپ میں جو طالبہ گورنمنٹ ہے انہوں نے بنایا تو ادھر رہتا ہے. ہزاروں افغان ریفیوجی جو بے گھر ہے اور ان کا سب چیزیں سامان وغیرہ چھوڑ کر آئے ادھر رہتا ہے. ان کے لیے کھانا پینا افغان طالبان گورنمنٹ کے طرف سے مہیا ہو رہا ہے اور ادھر یہ لوگ رہتے ہیں اور بعد میں یہ لوگ اپنے اپنے شہر جاتے ہیں. یہ تصویر میں دیکھ رہا ہے کہ ادھر ڈیورنٹ لائن کے نزدیک جگہ ہے جو کیمپ ریفیوجی کے لیے بنایا ہوا ہے. ادھر سب یہ ریفیوجی رہتا ہے. یہ تورخم بازار ہے, یہ وہ بازار ہے جو ہر روز ہزاروں افغان لوگ جو زبردستی پاکستان سے نکلتا ہے اور یہ لوگ ادھر رہتے ہیں اور بری حالت میں ادھر کیمپ بنا ہوا ہے ادھر رہتا ہے. ابھی میرے ساتھ ایک افغان ریفیوجی کھڑا ہے جو ابھی زبردستی پاکستان سے نکالا ہوا ہے. یہ کس بات میں وزبرد الكورونا کور وسایل توشکې خالی
ضرورت سامان زره به موږ شو
څنګه وضعیت کوم حالت اوس خلک نور ماجرین سره تاسو ټول افغانان ته وایي کوم حالت
دا وضعیت دا چې په کاری کې راځي بس موږ به لاړ شو.
ناظرین یہ جو ابھی پاکستان سے نکلوا ہوا ہے پاکستان کی طرف سے زبردستی اور یہ کہتے ہیں کہ سامان ان کے اندر لے گئے اور یہ زبردستی نکل رہا ہے. ہر روز افغان ریفیوجی پاکستان سے جو ڈپورٹ ہو رہا ہے ادھر آتا ہے اور کیمپ میں رہتا ہے.
It's Pakistan's deepening crisis in decades. They have been cornered from all sides, from fighting Tehrik Taliban Pakistan to Balochistan Liberation Army to Islamic State Khorasan. Pakistan finds itself isolated, tearing the very fabric of Pakistan's security and economy. Afghan Taliban is now turning out to be Pakistan's migraine, because now it is the Taliban top commander that is calling out the Sharif government. We bring you this response from a Taliban leader who has said that the way they have kicked out their own people is not fair, and there will be consequences of it.
دغه کومه جلین چې افغانستان ته راوړي موږ ته ډېر ښه تدابیر نیولي دي او داسې څنګه له ګیټ سره راواوړي دي خو د افغانستان خاورې ته سفري نقطې ته موږ دوی ته تدابیر نیولي د ډوډۍ د خوراک د څښاک د هر څه بیا دلته موږ دوی ته کارټونه ورکوو کارټونه ورکړل ته یو ماري کیمپ ته دا کوم ځای کې نو دلته یې کله هلته انتقال کړل د مهاجرین هلته هر یو مهاجر په سر باندې 15,000 شپږ افغانۍ ورکوي نو هر یو فامیل چې د 10 نفره 15 نفره ده.
And we have the narration of the Afghan refugee. He explains how he was compelled to move out of Pakistan without any passage of return whatsoever. We are also going to play out once again the response that has come in from the Taliban commander, because there is a message for the Pakistanis. He says that if this basically continues and if there is no resolution to the problem, then Pakistan is going to face the consequences. First, listen in to the Afghan refugees. Then we go back to the Taliban commander who's spoken for the first time. It's a brief statement that has been given to Republic reporter Hashmat Stanigzai, but a very significant response coming in from Taliban.
زما نوم ګلزرین دی زه د غازی آباد ولسوالۍ اوسیدونکی یم او د اسلامي امارت نه ډیره مننه چې موږ سره د پیسو تعاون هم وکړو د نور سامانونو تعاون هم وکړو او ډیر زیات خوشاله شو او دا غزګی نه موږ داسې حالاتو کې رالو چې ډیر پریشان وو. شکر الحمدلله ډیر زیات خوشاله دیونه او په هر لحاظ د هر شي تعاون موږ سره وکړو.
Well, this Taliban commander that our reporter actually met just outside the refugee camp, we spoke to him after much convincing him to give us what the Taliban essentially believes and perhaps the future, the roadmap ahead. Listen in once again to what the Taliban commander had to say, where he's making it very, very clear. It's crystal clear as to how Taliban basically views this entire issue.
دغه کومه جلین چې افغانستان ته راوړي موږ دوی ته ډېر ښه تدابیر نیولي دي او داسې څنګه له ګیټ سره راواوړي دي خو د افغانستان خاورې ته سفري نقطې ته موږ دوی ته تدابیر نیولي د ډوډۍ د خوراک د څښاک د هر څه بیا دلته موږ دوی ته کارټونه ورکوو کارټونه ورکړل ته یو ماري کیمپ ته دا کوم ځای کې نو دلته یې کله هلته انتقال کړل د مهاجرین هلته هر یو مهاجر په سر باندې 15,000 شپږ افغانۍ ورکوي نو هر یو فامیل چې د 10 نفره 15 نفره ده.
And now we take you through these exclusive pictures that no other channel has. Some barely a few kilometers away from the Afghanistan-Pakistan border and some from the border gate. The idea is to show how multiple camps have come up at the Torkham area to shelter those who were compelled to leave Pakistan. Take a look. Well, now let's take you through the Torkham Bazaar. Now, this is barely 2 kilometers from the Durand Line. In fact, you have several of these camps that have been put up by the Taliban right now to basically house most of the refugees. Now, the reason why we are putting this emphasis on this, on the current situation at the Durand Line is because there is an escalation that we are looking at right now in the hostilities between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now look at the condition in which the refugees are right now. These are exclusive images that we're getting in from the Afghanistan-Pakistan border right now, particularly how we have seen along the fence of the Durand Line, you have several of the refugees who are camping there. Now, for the Afghans, they have never accepted the Durand Line since 1947. In fact, they say that this is an artificial line that has essentially been created, and they're not going to accept it. And that is the reason why, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this particular gate that you see, this is the gate of the Afghanistan-Pakistan border and this is where everyone has now lined up. Several of the Afghan refugees are there. And what we have essentially seen in the last few weeks is the growing concern that many have right now in Afghanistan about the situation, and they believe that Pakistan perhaps will not accept it. Now, there is a long line of these refugees who are all inside those very camps, and the current condition that they are in. Now, on your screens, these are the trucks that have essentially been used to transport the refugees. And what they have essentially done is that it has led to the growing hostilities between Pakistan and Afghanistan. That's because this is a dispute that has never been resolved. And Pakistanis essentially believe that they no longer would be in a position to deal with the Taliban. In fact, very interesting statement was made by the Jamaat president in Pakistan, where he says, the Maulana says that the issue is not with Kashmir. The issue currently is with Afghanistan. And in fact, that is going to be the bigger cause of concern. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, while the focus of the entire world, including Pakistan, is on the eastern front with India, on the 3,000 plus kilometer long border, the real geopolitical concerns for Pakistan's very own existence exists within its own territory and the western borders, where the Pakistani army is being thinned out with each passing day. And that, remember, is the biggest challenge that the Pakistanis face today. While the focus of the entire world, including Pakistan, is on the eastern front with India, on the 3,000 plus kilometer long border, the real geopolitical concerns for Pakistan's very own existence exists within its own territory and the western borders, where the Pakistan army is being thinned out with each passing day. Let's first take a look at what is happening inside Pakistan. The nation is divided into 4 regions: Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Sindh, and Pakistan Punjab, the den of the army. Take a look at the northern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The Afghan Taliban does not recognize the western border, known as the Durand Line. And the Pashtuns believe the entire area belongs to Pakhtunistan, or Greater Afghanistan. The border is porous. Pakistan army has lost complete control in most of its districts. The Taliban can walk in and walk out anytime they want. The red part that you see here has complete influence of Taliban. And Pakistan is on the retreat within its own territory. That is their status in the north. Coming down to the south, the Balochistan province, where the Baloch Liberation Army are bleeding the Pakistani army every day. Large swaths of land along the Iran border, going all the way up to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, have seen massive operations of the BLA. Army troops are being spread thin here. Remember the Jafar Express embarrassment of the Pakistan army? This is where it all happened, with Pakistan moving more troops on the eastern front. The tensions are not just with Afghanistan and in Balochistan. Iran too remains a critical point of concern for Pakistan, with Iran known to carry out anti-terror operations in close proximity of the Pakistan border, even sometimes striking within its border with no regard for territorial sovereignty, that the equation Pakistan has to gauge and deal with as well. This is Pakistan's predicament. Taliban in the northwest, Baloch Liberation Army in the south, tensions with Iran, and pressure mounting internally also in Sindh. If Pakistan plays the gamble of going into a full-blown conflict with India, like it did in 1971 when it lost Bangladesh, experts believe that in the worst-case scenario for Pakistan, Balochis can leverage the situation for an independent Balochistan. The Taliban can leverage the situation for a greater Afghanistan or Pakhtunistan.
This also brings risk of rebellion in Sindh, and Pakistan may just be left with Punjab and its land controlled by the generals.
Well, you heard it right. There is a possibility that only the land of the generals, the Punjab, Pakistan, may only be the area that they are left with. I'm telling you why. Because if you really look at this greater Afghanistan issue, for the longest time, the Taliban has been saying that we do not accept the Durand Line. And this is a position that Afghanistan has, be it the Taliban or for that matter, the other Afghanistan governments that have been in place. They've never accepted the Durand Line. They say it's artificial. In fact, they say that it could be the greater Pakhtunistan. Now, as far as the largest province of Pakistan is concerned, that is Balochistan. You've already seen that there is an uprising. Balochis have been saying that first, they were taken over by the Pakistanis in an illegal manner. The Khalat was forced to sign the accession. And the very fact that their resources are being plundered by the Pakistanis. In fact, the Chinese have actually come into this area. Now, as far as Sindh is concerned, interestingly, there too there is a growing concern. There is a fight that is carrying on as far as free Sindhudish is concerned. That's the Sindh province that too there is a larger concern. There's a larger problem that's emanating. Now, what is this? This is the only part, perhaps Punjab, Pakistan, that they can basically claim, because that's where you have the Pakistani army stronghold. Now, let me also tell you, as far as the Iran border is concerned, here to the hostilities have actually increased. So look at the current situation for Pakistan right now. From one hand, the Iranians, then you have Taliban, then you have the Balochis. So what are they left with? The reason why they are extremely perturbed, and perhaps the larger picture of why you have the Pakistani army chief plotting the Pahalgam attack, because he wanted to divert the attention of the Pakistanis particularly, because remember, with Imran Khan in jail, with PTI getting the majority in Pakistan, there was a growing anger against the Pakistani army. The Pakistani army general was actually losing the plot, and that is the reason why, to divert the attention, you have this entire hypocritical and perhaps laughable, jugular vein response that was made by the Pakistani army. Now take a look at the full picture. The picture is this: the greater war. Let's just show you that wall. The greater war that we have been talking about. Aditi, if we can just move around the camera and just tell our viewers, as I end this, I'm going to just show you. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the real war right now. The war that the Pakistanis are facing with the Taliban. The greater war, and perhaps that is the reason why they're worried that if India retaliates, what will we be left with? Ladies and gentlemen, that's all that we could pack in this very special edition of This Is Exclusive, where we've got you ground reports from Afghanistan.